here for PGA Price Check, talking about the Valspar. So which golfers do you like at the following prices? So 10K plus, Reid, where are you going to go here?
Yeah, Viktor Hovland is someone that I'm very interested in, Jessie. I believe he's at 10-5 right now. And like when you look at his track record, and especially in difficult courses, he doesn't have any wins, obviously, on these difficult courses. And you can make a case for any one of his peers. You know, I would argue Dustin Johnson would be the other guy that I'm really looking at this range because of what his upside is. And we're kind of getting him on a dip, so to speak, as the second highest priced golfer in this tournament. But Hovland, when you take a look at tee to green, what he's done over the last 12 rounds, he's great. And actually on difficult courses, if you take a look at his game tee to green, I believe he's second in this field to only Dustin Johnson when you get on difficult tracks. So I know the short game is a little bit weary, but if this guy's hitting greens like he has been all year in his entire career, short career in the PGA Tour, I really like him at this price tag. And hopefully he goes a little bit unnoticed because of that.
Yeah, 10,500 for Viktor Hovland. Geoff, where are you going?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very interested in Hovland as well. Like, to me, it's between Hovland and Patrick Reed. I'm going to lean Reed here slightly. He's having just a really insanely good season. You know, he's at 3 top 10s over his last 5 finishes now. He's up there just putting the lights out like usual and playing well around around the greens as well. And Hovland's doing a lot of good things too, but I think when it comes down to it, you know, I'll take the experience factor with Reed. Both these guys have been really good DraftKings producers. Reed with 74 or more points in 7 of his last 9 starts on DraftKings. Hovland's up there, but you know, again, you look at Reed's just track record at the Valspar. He likes this course. It's a premier Patrick Reed course. Generally, you don't even have to get like over, you know, past -12 here to win. Reed can just grind out birdies or grind out pars, and pretty much do his thing here if he gets hot with the putter. So obviously runner up here in 2015, runner up here in 2018 as well. So likes the course. I just feel like with how Patrick Reed is playing, how consistently at this type of venue, I'd rather take a shot with him than Hovland, but it is between those two for me. I think a lot of people are going to be paying up for Dustin Johnson and Justin Thomas. So both these guys, Hovland and Reed, maybe even starting a lineup with them makes a lot of sense here.
I was just counting. There's like 8 guys in the 9K range, Geoff. Who are you going to go with? Louis Oosthuizen's in there.
Yeah, well, that's who I'm going to take. I mean, no one will want to play him this week, Jessie. No one's going to play Louis this week because they all remember the water ball hit on the playoff. They wouldn't even had to get in the playoff if Charles Schwartz would have just sunk a putt last week. Anyways, I digress. This is a very good setup for Louis Oosthuizen. He's another player who's just very good at grinding out pars. 9th in bogey avoidance. He's got, you know, around, if he's not first in strokes game around the greens, he's very close up there. Been putting well all season too. Louis been coming on. He's been gaining strokes on his approaches over his last 3 starts. You know, you don't have to be a master off the tee at Valspar. 3 of the last 4 winners here actually lost strokes off the tee. So I'm not that worried about the driver here. It's more about, can you grind out pars? Can you just remain steady? I think it's a very good track for him. He was runner up here in 2019. He's got a couple other top 10s here as well, to his credit. I think a lot of people are going to gravitate towards bigger names like Corey Connors, Abraham Ancer. Those guys are okay plays too, but look, for tournaments, if you're going to get Louis at like half the ownership of those guys, this is a place where he could potentially break through, just grind out everyone on Sunday. So I do like him in the 9K range.
Geoff, got to stand by his man.
I do.
Reid, where are you going?
Yeah, trust me, Tony Finau and Cam Cham, this is what they do, right? This is what they did. They look so great. This is what we talked about, Geoff, on our show last week. A little plug there. We have a show later today. Everybody join. Hello, Ayo. 3 to 4.
Hopefully Reid will talk about players in this tournament. Not
no, if Finau is in every single tournament in my mind, Geoff. And when you were saying Reid for that last question, I kept on thinking you were talking about me, and you're right. I do make birdies at an amazing clip. I'm a par saver. You're exactly right. But I think Jeff's right. I think no one's going to go to Louis. People are going to go to Hatton. People are going to go to Sanjay. We're on a Florida course, difficult course. Corey Connors is playing lights out. So, yeah, Louis is a guy that I don't think is going to garner ownership, but he plays these type of tournaments well. I want to talk about Jeff's guy. I'm surprised at 9K flat that he's not talking about Russell Henley. I mean, Henley, this is tailor-made for Russell Henley, right? He cannot putt, but when he can putt, it's on Bermuda. And this is a course that we've seen, or this is the type of course that we've seen guys like Henley show up. I mean, Adam Hadwin, great with his irons, great with the putter and around the green when he won. He won at -14, I believe, which was impressive. That's the kind of game that Henley has. And I don't think anybody's talking about him. This could easily have been a Henley chalk week, but because he can't putt and only is, I don't know, gaining 9 strokes with his irons like every other tournament. He's a guy that should always be a consideration. I think $9,000 is the exact price. I love him in this range, especially if guys are going to go to everybody else in the 9K range and just skip over Jeff's boy Russell.
That was a great segment, Reid. That might have been one of your best. I'm not going to lie.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. I'm going to see you guys later.
Oh my God. No, you have to stay and talk about the 8K range.
Oh, yeah. The 8K range. Look, I mean, if you read my article, another plug, AO, Taylor Gooch is a guy that I like. But how about a couple of guys, I believe, at the same price tag, Jesse? Gary Woodland and Kevin Streelman. Gary Woodland has not been good, like at all, this entire year. He's kind of coming back into form, and he's one of those guys that you kind of think that, yeah, they're on a tough stretch or tough skid in their career right now, but he has shown up in some spots and some difficult courses. We know that he's a guy that can get the ball in the fairway, can club down, hit the 3-wood far enough, and this, again, is a type of course that I've seen Gary Woodland play well at. And Kevin Streelman's the same, right? He's a guy, too, that not a lot of people are going to think about, especially when he's in the high 7K, maybe a low 8K range. I think both of those guys, if it's not a guy like Taylor Gooch that I really like, could go a little bit unnoticed and players that I like at this course.
All right, Geoff, 8K range, who do you like?
8K range, right? Are we in 8K range or 7K range?
Yeah, 8K range.
Oh, okay. Well, Reid was talking about guys in the 7K range. You really threw me off here, pal. You can't do that to me. I get confused very easily. I'm just going to go with the chalk. I feel like everybody is going to be gravitating towards this low 8K range with Emiliano Grillo and Chris Kirk. Chris Kirk is he's too consistent to ignore at this price, quite frankly. I mean, T6 at the Heritage. Made the cut with Brandon Todd last week, but realistically, Chris Kirk is playing good in all facets of the game. Off the tee, he's consistent. His approach is there every week, the around the green. If he shows up with the putter here, he could contend too. So he is going to be very popular at 82K. So is Emiliano Grillo, but this is a range where I just don't really like anyone else in this range. And I feel like these are good chalk plays. So give me Kirk and I guess also give me a piece of Emiliano Grillo here.
Kirk at 8.2, not 82K, to be clear, everyone. Geoff, talk about guys in the 7K range before we go back to Reid and figure out what the heck he's talking about.
Yeah, I'm gonna bounce back here with a solid one. I like going down low in the 7K range. There's a lot of talent here. Peter Uihlein at 7,300. I don't think many people are going to pay too much attention to him this week, but he's playing fantastic golf. Former #1 amateur player in the world. Won on the Corn Ferry Tour a couple weeks ago. Also had a second on the Corn Ferry Tour last month. And then he showed up last week with a partner in Richie Wensky, who was quite frankly in no form. And they still managed to pull out a T3. Look, I watched a lot of that tournament. I watched Uihlein play. A lot of it was to do with Peter Uihlein playing well here. This is a guy who's a fantastic putter. He can get hot on Bermuda grass. He's got good Bermuda splits. Playing well in all facets right now. At 7,300, do not be shocked if this guy shows up again. He's got to keep churning out top 10s to keep getting PGA starts. Got to go after that card. I think you're getting a really good price here. He is in really, really good form right now.
All right, Reid, who are you going with who's under 7K? Because we already got your 7K pick.
Well, one more guy that I do like in the 7K range, and it wasn't the two that I prematurely, that was my fault there, Geoff, went after the top 7K range, is Brendan Grace. He's someone that, again, plays these difficult courses well. I do like that. But if I'm going deep, deep diving here, bargain shopping, Ches Reavie, Geoff, a little Ches Reavie. I believe he's at $6,700. If that's below 7K, right, Jessie? I just want to make sure.
Yes.
Yes, that is below.
That checks out.
That checks out. $6,700 for Ches Reavie. Again, he's someone that not necessarily is playing well, but at the price tag, you take a look at some other players down in this range. Christopher Ventura, who was not helping Viktor Hovland at all at the Zurich Classic. And they looked great, right? And a lot of that was because of Hovland.
Yeah.
I just think that he's mispriced right now. Yeah, he's just mispriced. Ches Reavie is a guy who can play well at U.S. Opens. We've seen that on these shorter, this is not a short course, but he can get the ball in the fairway. He's great with his long irons. And if he gets it going where he just has to shoot 2 or 3 under a day to be in contention, I like that at $6,700, below $7,000.
Good.
Okay, Geoff, below 7,000, just like Reid just did.
Okay, I'm going to go Kyle Stanley here. Again, this event is just, the Valspar just plays so tough. Copperhead was the 6th toughest course back in 2019. I'm going to go Kyle Stanley. He grinds out pars. If those approaches are hitting, he's going to make the weekend. And it's not sexy or anything, but this is a player who's made quite a few cuts over his last little bit. The approaches have really been spiking in spots. And I think, again, another player managed to make the weekend last week. He's really close. It seems like Cal Stanley's really close. We know he can be an elite ball striker. And again, this is the kind of course where if those irons really show up and get hot, he could compete because he just doesn't have to make that many birdies. So Cal Stanley at 6,800 really does kind of stand out for me this week.